Hello. Many of you probably seen Steve Rowe's West Green videos, and one of the things that he probably hasn't told anybody on those videos is that he's actually got 6 of these EasyBuild 7mm scale Mark 1 coaches to build, and I somehow managed to be suckered into building one of them. So this is the start of that process. So as we can see here, these kits come in a nice robust box, which is great for putting them in once they're built. So when we open it, what we find is that there's a huge amount of parts inside. This bag contains all the bogies. It's got plastic bogies with some what looks like steel wheels here. They're black coated, brass bearings there, so that will all run nicely. We've also got the interior. So this is the seats. This particular coach is an SK, so these seats obviously go, SK being a corridor coach, the seats go most of the way across the carriage, so those seats will be fitted. An idea I had for actually putting the material on these was to get a picture of them off of YouTube or the internet or something, and then reprinting it on paper and then sticking it on. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. There's a whole load of brass parts for the underside of the chassis, all the brake rigging, parts, what else have we got? Oh yeah, all the door handles, some hooks as well. We've got 4 coupling hooks there. That's interesting. Wonder why it requires 4. Anyway, that's those brass parts. What else? What other goodies have we got in here? The window frames. So they're all etched brass. That's going to take a nice period of time to put those in. And on the end here, there's actually the plastic transparencies to go in those. Which is kind of interesting because there's not many for the top lights. Anyway, okay, maybe they're in the box here somewhere. Now we've got some more steel and metal parts. So what have we got here? Oh, this is all tied up. So we've got, what's that? Some of the fittings underneath by the look of it are buffers, brake cylinders, and the battery boxes underneath. They look a bit thin to me, and roof vents. Some springs for the couplings, some screws. The way these coaches go together is there's a couple of screws that go up inside each end and attached to some metal parts, which is what these here are. 2 little square blocks, and they fit into some runners on the underside of the roof so that it screws the roof down. Now we get on to the plastic parts. So we've got the ends. They look rather nice. Some of the trestle work underneath. As you've got 2 of those, obviously one for each end. And then here's this is one of the sides. So the thing about these is, I have to say I'm actually really impressed with them, because it's like building old Kitmaster coaches really. They're just so nicely made. There's no flash on any of this plastic. Beautifully made. Here's the other side. The toilet cubicle on the other end. This is the main floor, and the bogie mountings will go in each end of that. And it's got a bit of ribbing there. There's a few holes because all the trestles will go under there. And here's the roof. Now obviously we're going to have to fit all the roof vents on there, but this little groove here is actually got hangovers on the side, and that you thread those little blocks in the end and move them along, and then they pull the roof down onto the body. So that's quite a good idea. When I did Lima Mark 1 some years ago, I actually super glued a nut to the underside of the roof and put a bolt through, and that actually worked, but I think this way is probably a bit better. And then here's the corridor or gangway fittings. So there's the buffing plate there and the door, and there's actually some rubber parts here which form the gangway itself, so we'll have to straighten those out and fit those on. What else have we got? Okay, so there's a few bits and pieces here of wire strip and plastic strip for a few different purposes. I'd say this L piece here is probably for the steps. I'm not sure what this white piece is for, and I think this is a round piece, not sure what that's for, and a couple of pieces of wire here which are presumably something to do with the trestles or brake rigging or something. So those are all the parts of the kit. Actually, what's in here? This looks interesting. Interior details. So this is for the SK. So I wonder what we've got in here. Alright, let's have a look. I'm just going to get a knife to uncut this. It says that it's interior parts, so that's probably the interior divides and things. Now, one thing that's probably noticeable is that there's actually no instructions in here in the box. That's because they EasyBuild actually make them available on their website, and that's not going to work with a knife. So let's try a pair of scissors. Okay. Yeah, so you just print them off, and I've actually done that. This is the sheet, and it's there's 18 pages of instructions on how to put these coaches together, and they're actually really good instructions too. Alright, so let's just chop the end of this off, and then we'll get inside. Let's see what we've got in here. Okay, there we go. So let's have a look. Oh yes, it's a pile of etched pieces. Here we go. So this is all the internal fittings for the corridors, and what's that plastic piece? I don't know. Right, so there's 2 lots of those. Yeah, okay, so there's a lot there. And what else have we got in this packet? Some more bits of wire, that's probably handrails and things. I'd say these white pieces, they're actually plastic, it's probably for doors or something, but anyway, they're in there. Oh, and there's some other goodie down the bottom of this too. What's that? Oh, some just brass sheets. Oh yeah, so they've got to be folded up. Ah yes, I think I know what these are. These look like the backing to the battery boxes. That's why I said they were so thin, so these probably fill them out. Okay, so those are all the parts to these kits, and yeah, it certainly looks like a really good kit, and it's going to take a few weeks to build this, so that's the first step.